Hey everyone, this is Tarang here from Optimark. Just want to let you know I just had a really good sales call with a potential client, and what I did was I got Ted from our team to just listen in on the call. So step number one was I set up a conference call, and I had a conference call with my client that happened exactly right around 2 o'clock this afternoon. So the call lasted about 20 minutes, and she kind of walked through what it is that she needed, and it was clear that she needed some guidance in the process. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to walk through the steps in here of making sure I get in touch, I follow up with the client, most importantly post-call, and also I log all of my notes correctly on the Hubspot CRM. So let's go through this and we'll walk through the sequence. So I'm going to be adding Ted from our team, and he's just going to listen into exactly how this process works on HubSpot.
Hey, Ted.
Hey Ted, okay, you're actually on a recording now. I'm basically trying to train the sales team. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to share my screen, and I'm going to explain to you how a salesperson should log that call, and then be able to have you then follow up with the client after the call is done. So can you just role play with me for 10 minutes while this recording is going on?
Yeah, sure.
All right, perfect. So for salespeople that estimators are going to be your eyes and ears to make your business run well. So in this case, I had requested an estimator listen in on the call while I was talking, just to have some background of what's going on with this account. It allows things to get done a lot more efficiently, so you can move on to the next transaction if it's worth it to have an estimator on the call when a client's ready to actually start talking about their product. So in this case, I'm just going to go and look up the client. So in this case, I'm looking it up by the name of the company, which is Food Trace. So Food Trace is the name of the company. You can already see in this case that I have a deal pending, or rather, I should have a deal pending. And it says the Food Trace deal pending. Now, if I go to contacts and I type in Rihanna, this is my contact. Her name is Rihanna, and she is the owner and founder of this company called Food Trace. And they basically provide food, all different types of food and meal plans. So she has a lot of things she needs to get done, from packaging to inserts that go in the box, business cards, table throw materials, and a type of pull-up banner stand, a trade show type display. So she needs some assistance on the design side. So we're gonna kind of recap what happened on the call. So first, I'm gonna take notes of what happened on the call. So I'm gonna log activity, I'm gonna log the call. I had the call today. Now we just need to describe what happened. So key items, key steps. So I took my notes just on pen and paper while I was during the meeting, and I'm just copying them back in here. So number one, here are the items she needs, and the recap email I will be back to her. So what I did was on this call, I made it clear to her that I'm gonna be her kind of eyes and ears through the process, but Ted is going to be following up with her. So that allows me to kind of put some responsibility on the estimator to follow up, but it's my job as a salesperson to understand what it is she wants so that Ted can get back to her. So I'm just going to kind of write up the email that I want him to send on our behalf between Tarang and Ted. So here, so I'm just going to pretend that I'm replying back to the client. Hello, Rihanna. It was a pleasure speaking with you today. Now I'm going to pretend to be Ted here. Tarang and I are very excited at the opportunity to serve you. Ongoing requirements. We feel our design team is will be a natural complement to market your brand. Here is what we need from you. So what we need from her is, number one is current AI, is Adobe Illustrator files for all relevant artwork for the company. Okay, number two, here is the list of products we understood you might be looking for. So now I'm just gonna list them out. So we have box inserts. She needed to get business cards. She needed to be able to get table throws, which are basically, they go over a 6 or 8 foot table and they cover it up. She didn't really know what she had wanted there, so I'm just gonna shoot that product to her and make sure she gets a visual. In addition to that, I'm just gonna throw her examples of pull-up banner stands. And then ideally I want to, be able to get her to get interested in what we have is the displays. So a 10 by 10 display, which can be used for a trade show. So those are the key things, and then most importantly is the packaging. Packaging. We need to get an idea of the current dimensions. You had referenced, and you want to make sure you take all the notes on the call of what she had referenced. So you had referenced you liked the box from, and then here's the exact reference she said. There was a company she had mentioned. Ted, do you remember what the name was of that link that she had given us?
Exactly, but it was some world.
So history, I can look at my history. Right here, this is it. So try the world.
Try the world.
Perfect. So she referenced that she liked this particular box. Now the problem as a salesperson is that's great. Like I can see that this box is here, but I have no idea what the dimensions are of. So instead of going in a roundabout circle for a long time, you got to put the customer in their place in terms of they have to give us some details of what they're looking for so we don't keep having an ongoing conversation. So I told Rihanna, hey, this is great. We can definitely print this kind of box that you see here, but we need the dimensions. So we're gonna go back here and say, we need to get an idea of the current dimensions you had referenced, you like the box from, boom. And then I'm just gonna copy paste that link, which was trytheworld.com. And they had a box that was printed on a 20 plus point stock, which had a 2-color imprint. We can plan to print these boxes in lower runs to start, and once things stabilize, then you want to recommend to her, she's going to save money by ordering more, and that also helps us. Once things stabilize, you will see economies of scale on your pricing. Perfect, so that's that. So, and I had packaging spelled wrong, so I'm gonna fix that. So that's there, and then trade shows also spelled wrong. What's wrong there? Either way, that's fine. And then in addition to that, I'm just trying to check. Ted, do you know any other notes that we had left?
There was something letter stamp.
Yeah, good question. So she said that she wanted what was called a scarlet letter stamp.
Yeah.
Okay, so you had mentioned something about the design of a scarlet letter stamp. So please give us some more info, and when we have the dimensions, we can at least quickly price out the job, assuming the 2-color imprint. Okay, so now as a salesperson, the next step is you just want to kind of recap on what the next steps are. So we plan to send you over some design mock-ups by early next week, assuming we can get some artwork to give us a general foundation where you started. Where to start. Anything else, Ted, from the call that you recall that we should talk about?
No, that's it.
So I'm gonna log this activity of this call, copy this, and I'm gonna log it. Now I know that I've logged this. Now being the salesperson that I am, I need to make sure that I remember to touch base with her. So technically I could create a task. Now if Ted is on the system, Ted's an estimator, but it's okay, he'll get a notification. I'm gonna say, Ted, please email Rihanna and CC me as well as, and then if you do at, you can do Keith Scott at Adilson. And the only reason I'm doing this is I'm trying to train some of our newer salespeople to understand how to use HubSpot effectively to make sure that this work is getting done. So at least these guys know, both of these individuals will be notified when this email goes out, and Ted's just gonna know how to recap this email. So I'm creating a task for him, which needs to be done today. So today's the date. We might as well just get it done, in the next 15 minutes. And I'm gonna save this task. This task will show up on Ted's task list. So if I go into HubSpot and I click on tasks and I view all tasks, and you see this is assigned to me, if I put in right now, Ted, we can see, well, what's been assigned to him, we add the filter. And right here is that task. So he just clicks here and it says, Ted, please email Rihanna and CC me as well as Keith Scott, blah, 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 blah. And here's the information on the job. Now, I still need to make sure that I start this process. So the status of this is, whether it's completed or started, it's up to Ted to make sure he finishes that. And then on the company here, you want to make sure everything's tied together to a company name. So food trace. So that's something food. So the company, there's something that's not imported correctly on this company. So I need to figure out why that disconnect is there. I can try to see if something comes up here. And the deal showing up. So the proper company is not associated on this. So that needs to be fixed. And we'll be able to address that on an alternative session. And speaking of Keith, he just joined the call. So Keith, I'm in the middle of a recording right now with Ted for a sales call that I just had. I don't know if you can see my screen.
Terrain, you're really breaking up, Terrain.
No worries, Keith. Give me 5 minutes. I'll call you back once I'm done with this training.
Okay.
Awesome, thanks.
All right.
Perfect. So now I've gone ahead and I've sent over this task to Ted. I hit save and he knows he's going to be able to get that. Now I don't really need to do anything. The only thing I need to do is I need to schedule or create another task for me to follow up with her. So I'm just going to make sure that I don't forget about her by like tomorrow night, because that's when we need to brief her. Realistically, Ted will be helping me and taking care of this. But in the case that I just make sure I remember, I'm going to create the task of saying follow up to make sure all design files are in, and then make sure we brief Ted. Who do we need to brief then by tomorrow?
Kishan?
Exactly. So Kishan is one of our designers, so we need to brief the design team. So I have a reminder set in here to make sure that that's done, and I'm gonna just make sure that Ted is aware that this task needs to be done. And then that way, that's on HubSpot, it's logged, it's saved, and we won't forget about the deal. So it's as simple as that. A quick phone call with organized follow-up notes will allow you to successfully be able to do well in terms of monitoring and managing your sales. You can look at any deal right now, and this deal is now at the point where it's a request for quote. So I can see my deal, it says the food trace new deal specs pending. So this deal I'm gonna put on the top of my list because it's something she wants to get out fairly quickly. So I don't want to take this order lightly because it's a potentially large account. So I hope this session helps. Should you guys have any questions, feel free to reach out to us directly at print@optimargraphics, and stay selling. Thanks and have a good day.